Hello and welcome to another episode of To Be Perfectly Honest, The Mandalorian. And as always, I'm Corey, and this is Matt.
Yo.
And today we're talking about episode 3, and it's called The Sin. Honestly, this is my favorite episode so far. I got so excited. I was doing this yeah, Mando, you get them, yelling at the TV. When this came out, I watched it at 7 o'clock in the morning.
It's a Star Wars wet dream, for sure.
I mean, pretty much. Totally great. We definitely thought we were going to jump into this. I think the beginning was predictable. The middle part, I was really like, oh man, are we just going to leave this little child to the remnants of the Empire? And
he went from anti-hero to just anti.
Right, exactly. And then he totally revived it all with that little ball. So thought that was pretty freaking awesome. Really glad that this was the third installment because I was ready for it. I need a little more action, and I'm ready to move this forward, see where it's going, right?
And we were complaining last episode about it being, only 32 minutes. This one's got an extra 5 minutes, so it's only 2 minutes shorter than the first episode.
Right.
And that extra 5 minutes.
Yes.
Packed a wallop.
Love it. So we have a lot with this one. I think maybe it's best if we just jump in and we can kind of go through what happened in the episode, and then we can talk about our thoughts and where we think this the rest of the season's going to go, because we're a good portion of the way through of it right now. Yeah. So we open up and we have Mando, and he is in the cockpit of his spaceship. He's playing with the child, little Baby Yoda, and he's fascinated with this little ball on this little lever. And he's like, no, I need this. I
saw what you did with the frog. This is choking hazard.
Not good.
Yeah.
I don't want to fish this out. So we go through, takes that away, and then he ends up landing. Basically, he is back on where he picked up this bounty, right? Yep. And he gets a little transmission and from the head of the bounties and says, hey, you're going to go ahead and deliver it. They want it right away, fly safe, but you're going to deliver it straight to the person who put the bounty out. So he goes and he meets Herzog and his gang. We have this little clip kind of reminiscent of the first episode when we have it. We have the little thing that goes,
yeah.
He scans the little thing and comes in.
Perfect. Rendition.
Right. I try. I've been practicing for years.
Yeah.
But we have kind of a different tone, right? So, or maybe it's kind of the same tone, I guess. The stormtroopers don't give a they're totally about ready to be yeah, we're going to take this kid and grind it up.
Yeah, I think the first episode, I almost felt bad for them because it was you could tell they were hiding. Yeah. Not that you're supposed to feel bad for the Empire, but
Matt does.
But this time, but this time, it was oh, these assholes.
Seriously. Yeah. So we have, little Baby Yoda is so oh, what's going on? It's hard to tell emotion. I think we were talking about this a little earlier, but I'm definitely getting oh God, what am I getting into? Right. And you can tell that from the first little bit he's on the planet. So he comes in and we have this huge, and now you remember the word of it now. What's the container called? Forgot again.
Yeah.
I forgot again. Whatever. It's basically a container. It opens up. You'll see it here in the pictures. But essentially it's plumb stock full of Beskar, quite a few. And how many bricks do we have total?
I don't know. I didn't count. It's too many to count.
I want to say it's I
can only count to 10.
24 bricks, something like that.
More fingers. More than I have fingers.
Yeah, totally. And we have this kind of dialogue between him and Herzog, and Herzog's basically oh yes, you are worth your weight, and it was hard to find a Mandalorian. So we have a little background of there's not a whole lot of them out in public here. And we find out later in the episode that that's to preserve their anonymity. They only have one kind of them out at a time, it sounds
because of the purge.
Because of the purge. So kind of interesting. We also have, he gets this payment and you can tell it's a lot. His morals are kind of out the window at this point. And we have Baby Yoda going away in his little like spear crib thing and being led away to like, as far as we know, like everyone's been like, oh, let's just kill it, right?
Just now thinking about how much nicer it would have been when Cambria was younger to have a floating
Crib. Yeah.
You know,
Oh, hell
don't
yeah.
have to cart it around.
Seriously, it'd be great. Great at the grocery store.
Right.
Get out of my
Disneyland.
way.
Yeah.
Floating crib. Yeah, should we go on a lot of adventures, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
Totally like this. So yeah, we have little Baby Yoda, and you know, essentially we open up on the credits and we're just like, oh crap, like he just gave away Baby Yoda, like, and it's called the sin, and you're like, yeah, this is a freaking sin. Where are we going from here? You know, we kind of have a lot of build up to this, but at this point, I don't know. Like, I did not know if we were going to have Baby Yoda die. I didn't know if we were going to have him come in and save the day, if he was going to be tracking them to another universe, what was going to go on, or if he was going to do another double cross. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen next, but
Yeah.
then we get into what happens next. So he collects his bounty. He goes back to kind of the Mandalorian, like, headquarters underground, and he goes and sees the Smith.
They're all playing dice every time you see
Pretty
them.
much. We get some really good shots of other Mandalorians as well, which are
Yep.
really cool. And we obviously see more of them later. But he brings all of this in, and essentially this is like, oh, like everyone comes in, right? They're like, how in the hell did you get this?
Yeah, like
oh,
smell it or something.
they're like, it's stamped with the Galactic Seal or the Empire Seal. Like,
Yeah.
not good. How could you? Like, and this brings a little more context of why he was so anti the Empire for payment before, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because it's like, you know, Mandalorians traditionally didn't get along with Jedi, right?
I mean, early on, yeah.
And now the Empire, it's like they really don't have a lot of
I think they I don't know. I think they flip flop.
totally, especially when you're a bounty hunter. I mean, that
Yeah.
makes sense, but just really interesting. You feel like they're very isolated in the world. So everyone comes in. We have basically this fight between, I don't know, what do you want to call him, Big Blue?
I
Something like that?
don't know what we should call him, but
He looks badass.
he looks badass. His voice didn't like quite match what I expected it to be at first, but
I mean, what can you do?
yeah.
What can you do? So yeah, really interesting armor on this guy, and he basically is just like, you're a piece of crap because you're dealing with the Empire, and I think at this point too, we have like a little bit of, it's hard to tell because they have helmets on, but I have a little bit of like feeling that Mando's kind of like, okay, yeah, that is kind of shitty that I did that, but I did it for this. I did it for all of us, you know. I did it for armor. I did it for Beskar.
I mean, that's quite a out though. And this part when he tries to take his helmet off, like,
yeah.
that's like a no.
Yeah, totally. And then we have a shot of this blade. So this is definitely a vibro blade, and this is definitely how he killed the Mudhorn,
Yeah.
or helped kill the Mudhorn. But like, did we get this added in? We want to know from you guys, because Matt and I don't remember seeing this vibrate last episode. In the flashback of the episode, they actually show it, and I'm like, I don't remember that happening.
Yeah, I don't either.
I wonder if they put that into audience feedback.
They
like,
put it in
of
post.
Why? Yeah, exactly. Where's the vibroblade effect? And maybe it was in this one, and just they didn't think about it in the other one. But so basically, they're at a stalemate, and then the Smith is essentially like, you know, we do what we have to do, and he brought back the Beskar to the colony or whatever. Like, leave him the hell alone.
Beskar's Beskar.
Yeah, he has courage. If he didn't have courage, he wouldn't wear the helmet, like, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So then they melt it down, and she, you know, asks, you know, oh, hey, this is enough to kind of do everything. Like,
It is known.
it is known. And he's like, oh, well, I don't have a signet, you know, I don't have a sigil, and that's because, you know, the Mudhorn was supposed to be that, but Baby Yoda helped him, and he basically calls Baby Yoda his enemy, but the enemy that didn't know he was his enemy. So we have more self-reflecting on that, and then we have it melted down.
We had the
Really cool
prerequisite
process.
flashback scenes.
Always like, what is with
The
this
sound of
armor
hammering
making?
metal.
Yeah.
It just brings back.
Oh, PTSD. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Because he's not getting a signet, he gets these things that are called whistling birds, which are
That are right next to the Lego.
really, really cool. Yeah, right next to a silver Lego. Very high budget, obviously. They do look really freaking cool. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy on steroids, and then they're one time and done,
Yeah.
which is a little impractical considering Beskar is so, you know, finite. But
I mean,
how many foundlings could have used that Beskar?
they're like diamond tipped explosives or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Really freaking cool though. We see the design. Basically, we get everything remade, and we do have a little dialogue here where he's basically saying, my armor's been compromised. I have to start from scratch. So we don't know if this is, maybe there was just the base component was Beskar and everything else was built on it, and that was fragile, and the Beskar was compromised because of that. Maybe it was Beskar at one point and just really worn down.
Yeah, I don't think it's like, completely impregnable material. I'm sure it has some weaknesses over.
Totally. It looked like it was pretty thinly made, and you see a lot of circuitry in it too. So I don't, like I said, I don't know if it's like, a motherboard of Beskar and then like the top of it was just like regular armor plating.
Yeah.
But we're starting from fresh.
It's mysterious.
It's so mysterious.
Say this is the way. It is the way.
So basically we have that flashback scene. We get a little bit more this time. We see that the droid actually did open up the container where he was hiding. We don't know who found him. Presumably, I would guess this would be another Mandalorian, making him a foundling. That's why he's so into the foundlings and making sure that they have their Beskar. And anyways, cool scene. I like it every time I see it. I love seeing more of the Mandalorians that are around him. But now, like, he's pretty set. I mean, we probably need to have a jetpack, but I don't know if that's made of Beskar or not. That seems like a lot of Beskar.
Yeah.
They're like, and it's fueled by Beskar. It's the most expensive jetpack in the world. He's like, oh, I love money.
Yeah.
A rump. But basically he goes, okay, like, this is not acceptable.
But yeah, the reveal.
I'm gonna come back. Though. When he walks through those doors, we have Carl Sagan's
Carl Weathers.
Going way back.
Another Carl.
Carl Weathers' character sitting at the cantina table, and he's like, you made me out of money. Like,
yeah.
He's like, you want to go you want to meet some Twi'leks?
Yeah.
I know some
Twi'lek healing center, healing baths.
Exactly. But we find out that
nice.
Does it?
Sounds very nice.
Oh, I see. We find out basically that every single one of the bounty hunters basically got one of these fobs, as we see play a part in the story later. But everyone was going after this, and it seems like he was the only one that was really tasked with bringing home Yoda baby alive.
It seemed as that was the case, but I think it was more along the lines of everybody got tasked with it. He was the only one that was able to pull it off.
Yeah, I don't know, but they all have these trackers, and Carl has basically 2 things of Beskar himself, so pretty good deal just for a finder's fee, to be honest.
Right.
But yeah, he's like, everybody hates you. They freaking hate you. So we know his name is out there. Like they had said in the previous scene, you wear this helmet, you wear this armor, like that takes courage because everybody's going to be out for it.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting scene. And then we kind of have this little scene where, he finds out his next target. It's a rich person's son.
Calamari.
Yep. Gonna go and find that out. It's really far away. He says, good. We have these little hints that he's regretting what he did, like ethically he didn't feel like it was right, but overall it was for the
I just got
Beskar.
hungry.
Real hungry.
Yeah.
For Beskar or calamari.
Calamari.
Delicious. So he gets back in his ship, and then this is where he goes to reach for the little knobby, and it's actually right there. He just never put it back. But he's like, oh, he used to play with this little thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, this. Puts it back down. And this is where I was like, yeah, you go. You're going to get Baby Yoda. You want to show them.
Yeah.
And then this is what starts the real piece de resistance of this episode. Like from here, it's just forward marching action scene after one another.
Yeah. I want to come back to this one screenshot though.
Well, let's talk about it.
Well, it's almost nothing, but it's just the little details that they're putting in to bring back the old Star Wars. In the background, big pile of rubble. You've got this metal rod that's got some weird shapes and stuff on it, and it's like they pulled the prop straight out of the vault,
totally.
or remade it or something. And it's the piece of metal that they try to prop up.
They probably remade it.
They probably did.
Probably look like crap.
Yeah.
If it's even out there.
Right. But it's the piece of metal that they use to prop open try to prop open the trash compactor in A New Hope.
Mm-hmm. Totally. So he goes back. He sees that basically, hey, this little floating crib has been junked, thrown in the thing. And we're like, oh, okay, that sucks. And then he uses his awesome little scope attachment that feeds right into his helmet and does kind of a thermal scan and goes in and like enhance audio.
Yeah.
And finds out like Herzog is basically like, hey, I can't protect you anymore to the scientist. You need to hurry up and you need to do what you need to do and extract what we need from him. So this kind of supports what we had been talking about in the earlier episodes of, this being a really force sensitive being and maybe extracting the midichlorians.
Or just like the genetic code so that they can clone him.
That could be it too. Like having a crazy clone army of little, really takes a long frickin' time.
Yeah.
But they never die, I guess.
Gremlin army.
Unless they're killed.
Force sensitive gremlin army.
Don't feed them after midnight.
Yeah.
Woo. So we have the little thing like
that one was better.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
that was better.
I thought it was worse.
One.
It snaps it off, right? Or he snaps it off, and then immediately 2 stormtroopers come out and they're like, "What the goddamn Jawas?"
I do feel like maybe he's wanted to do that for a while.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel the rage. He you have to remember too, like
he like walks around the corners.
is like so much built up like anger for everything. Like you legitimately feel like he is really pissed off and that the Empire did like help genocide his people. Like it's palpable pretty much. Not to be confused with Palpatine.
Yeah.
So anyways, he puts a little explosive on the wall. Explodes in. Basically, he's like, okay, bopping in, and we have several stormtroopers pop in, and he just decimates them. Several of them he just like dispatches with a blaster. Then he has some really cool techniques he does on a couple of them, and you really like the technique he uses when he's fighting, when he gets Baby Yoda too, where he's like spinning and
I felt like he kept like kind of initially just putting his back to whatever the danger was, and then spinning real quick and popping them,
using that Beskar to his advantage.
Yeah, but the whole whipcord, pull him in, stab him with the vibroblade.
Totally awesome. My favorite personally is when he burns that one to a freaking crisp.
Yeah.
But
Kentucky
what can you
Fried
do?
Stormtrooper.
Totally, and you hear it sizzle, just like.
Yeah.
And I think that actually happens after this part. But anyways, we come out in the room with the scientist. The scientist is essentially like, "Don't kill me. Like I was trying to save him." As we have one of these torture droids essentially going right. So we're like, "What's going on?" Also, Baby Yoda seems to be like incapacitated somehow, like if he's just tranquilized, or if they were doing something to him. Did they extract what they needed to? We don't really know this.
They gave him some children's Tylenol,
pretty much, right? We have the control panel over this medical device that reminds me of something definitely out of Star Trek actually. It's hard to decipher anything. You can't really tell, but he's definitely alive still. So we have him. Mando basically picks him up, throws him his shoulder. This is definitely, there's 2 parts that we've both noticed where we're like, this is definitely practical effect. The first one, Matt said, basically, when we're in the very beginning and he picks him up after he's playing with the ball, he's like, there's no way that has to be like
it looks like
doll.
It's like a little doll.
Hottest seller this year, right?
I haven't seen it online yet, so
looking every day.
Yeah.
That's all I've been doing. And the other thing is like you can tell whenever he is, kind of tucked Baby Yoda and he's like shooting, that is a cloth.
Yeah.
There's nothing inside of it.
Yeah.
If there is something inside of it, it is a green ball with ears. Like, but still really awesome. Love the
I was waiting, like multiple times. I was just like, oh, that's not real. Like he's stashed it away somewhere or something, but no.
Yeah, totally. So we have that flamethrower scene. Then he kind of gets around and he's in a more open area and he kind of gets surrounded. So he has, I think it's like 4 or 5 stormtroopers. And he's like, okay, putting down the baby, like calm down.
Yeah. Uses half of his whistling birds.
Those whistling birds, Dunzo.
Yeah.
Got all of them. Kind of expensive just for this little part, but it works, I guess.
Yeah.
Why not? Something
That's when you're going to use them.
right?
You know?
Well, I mean, you could save them for a little later, but I mean, hindsight.
Yeah.
So the other thing that we have not seen here, something that's really lacking, is we saw Herzog's character in the IR on his scope, but we have not seen him throughout here at all. So,
well, I mean, that makes you feel like maybe he dipped out. He's talking about how he can't protect you anymore.
Yeah.
And then we know that there's this other, Gion's character.
Yeah.
Esposito.
Esposito.
Yeah. And he's got death troopers with him.
Yeah.
And those guys aren't no joke. So
I just feel like it's a little interesting with the timing here because you're watching someone through IR thermal camera, right?
mm-hmm.
And then you immediately go in. Like, there's one door in and out of this complex, right? Where does go?
He's old, man. He's got
ways.
experience.
Yeah.
He's wily.
He's got Nazi secret corridors that he's
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's something, but we know that this is going to be probably something recurring, right? We have a couple loose ends. I would say Herzog's character,
mm-hmm.
the scientist who he doesn't kill, he spares.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Carl. So really interesting. We'll
Carl
get to Carl.
Sagan.
Yes, Carl Sagan.
Yeah.
He died later though.
Yeah.
Old age. Yeah. I think cancer. So then we go and we have the scene where essentially everyone in the cantina is like, what? My auto starts going off. And they're like, oh, wait, no, that's the bounty fob. And all of them start going off. This crazy.
Yeah.
Which you kind of would think, too, would have happened when he came in. You would have more like people trying to take the kid away from him. But maybe they cut that part out.
Well, I mean, he's got it. He's got the bounty. It's his. Maybe they, like the job's done. They deactivated the fob. Wasn't going off.
I don't know. Logistics of it don't make sense to me, but
well, there's
whatever.
There's rules, right? They got guild rules.
Well, how do they know that he's not just, the next part of my bounty is now delivering this kid somewhere else?
I don't know.
Exactly. Anyways, it attracts everyone and their mothers out. And in fact, there's like a lot of like weirdly not threatening looking women bounty hunters.
Yeah.
You're like, what is going on? They just look like house cooks and stuff. Just weird alien ones. Not saying that women can't be
hide
bounty
in plain
hunters,
sight, man.
right? But yeah, it really interesting crew. You kind of see the diversity of the bounty hunters as we saw kind of earlier when we're walking through the city. And we have this really awesome scene where we have his ship kind of lit up in the background as the end goal. And they're kind of in this, the foyer of the city, kind of.
They had the one guy with the horns on his head. I think that's a Zabrak. I'm not sure. Not that guy with the horns, but the guy with a bunch of horns.
Oh,
Looks like Darth Maul
kind
without
without the coloring.
The coloring, yeah.
Yeah. So really interesting, but we have this scene where Carl's like, hey, put him on the frickin' speeder and we'll let you go. Like,
yeah.
I'm
he
the
does
only
like
guy
a
you can
Jackie
trust.
Chan flip. Quick draw Jackie Chan flip into the speeder.
Yep. Threatens the droid. It's like, take off. The droid's like, okay. Takes off. And then we have this awesome fight scene. And really, honestly, what can you say? It is pretty awesome. I think he takes out like 10 to 12 guys and then eventually is just over freaking whelmed. Like, nothing he can do. We have this cute little scene where
reminds me of the Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid at the end.
And there is like the framing of the first part of it when it's him and Carl standing off against each other is totally a duel. Like, he has his hand on his gun. They're faced that way. Really totally taking cues from Western.
Also, these are a bunch of Beskar containers and Beskar speeder, obviously.
Oh,
the number of I'm just saying.
I mean,
the number of times that thing's getting lit up.
Totally. I mean, those blasters aren't that powerful though. Usually, right?
I don't know.
I mean, some of them are
dollar store blasters.
Yep, cheapos.
Yeah, I mean, they can't even afford. They're not even getting the contracts. So
seriously, they need to change the batteries.
They run on AAA's.
Yeah, they're like the Costco brand ones, not the Duracells.
They need the D-cell blasters.
Yeah, totally.
The 9-volt.
He has this moment where he's basically like, I'm going to die. I'm going to get killed, right? And probably Baby Yoda's going to get killed, and this really sucks. And he looks down
deep into Baby Yoda's eyes.
Baby Yoda's eyes basically light up.
But also there's the, him disintegrating multiple guys.
I mean, that's all this. We've seen
and he's
that,
like,
right?
and he's like, that's an interesting weapon you got there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He needs to work on that flamethrower. That's the second time it has just crapped out on him.
I mean, it's still really impressive that you can have a flamethrower off your wrist, right?
Yeah, I'm curious as to what it is that he's burning and where it's stored.
Yeah. Sounds like kind of a hazard, but...
Well, yeah, that's a lot,
Yeah, it's his blood.
It's
like Death Stranding.
It's magic.
So, yeah, we have this awesome flamethrower scene, but then he gets overwhelmed. Then we have Baby Yoda where he looks down and Baby Yoda actually wakes up finally, and he just is kind of like, man, we're kind of screwed here. Mm. And all of a sudden we have this guy that's up here off of a roof that's going to take aim, and pew,
some rocket hits him.
Shot. And then we have this great scene. You said it was out of like Iron Man 3 style. Like we just have a lot of guys in armor and jetpacks, like coming down. They're like the paratroopers of the Mandalorians. Seemingly every other Mandalorian has a jetpack besides him, I guess. Why not?
I don't know.
He was a foundling. Like, what can you do?
Yeah.
But they basically save the day. And
he gets all the hand-me-downs.
That's what it is. Yeah. And his rocket didn't fit.
Yeah.
It was too big. Yeah. He's like, nah, like a Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Put your hands down, Mando. So yeah, essentially he's able to get out. They're like, hey, get on out, go to your ship.
And the guy with the Gatling gun, the Big Blue is what we call him now. Yeah. Apparently.
Big old blue.
Big old blue. Now there's a level of mutual respect after they almost slit each other's throats, and I'm just curious, like I just wonder sometimes how stuff works. Like the laser beam energy is being funneled from the bottom of his jetpack into the. I mean, it looks badass.
Yeah,
it really does.
Totally. I think he's one of my favorite character designs we've seen so far.
Yeah, for sure. That is going to be an action figure.
Oh, it better. 100%. Yeah. And I hope we see him again, right? Like that's the other thing is we find out at the end of this that essentially they're moving this underground base of Mandalorians to another planet. So we got to think that this is going to come into play, right?
They've been outed.
I think this is the step of like, hey, I'm transitioning from a bounty hunter to a bigger purpose, and it starts with this child. But like, really, if you look at it, he was a child. That's I think why we have these flashbacks here during the smithing. It's for this culture, this Mandalorian culture as well, and like, what is he going to do to take up that mantle and like become like maybe the leader of the Mandalorians? I think that's what we might be seeing here. Maybe not. Maybe he just is really badass. But so he gets on the ship.
My guess on it is that it's going to be a little bit more of a personal journey for him.
Okay.
I think that we're going to see tidbits of what's going on with the clan, his clan, this hidden group of Mandalorians, but I kind of suspect that this might be one of the last times that we actually see the clan all together.
I mean, he does have most of the armor he needs.
I think they're going to come back in and they're going to get involved again once it's like similar situation where he's like, oh man,
I can't make it out.
Yeah.
I can see that. You had a comment about his ship.
About his ship?
Yeah. Something being left open.
Oh yeah. The security is really tight on that ship that he just leaves the thing open.
Well, once you've had Jawas completely disassemble your ship, you're hey, why not?
The locking mechanism wasn't reinstalled. Or maybe he, in trying to make a quick escape, he's already auto-started the,
he
lowered the ramp.
Foot-activated liftgate?
Yeah.
Okay. It makes sense.
And Weathers was just sneaky and
I think Carl would have made it in anyways. Like he would have found a way in. So I think it's just shorthand for the storytelling. We didn't have to have a scene where it was like
I'm not
minutes. But we have the scene basically where, Carl's like, you ain't got nowhere to go. And like, it's like, Carl, seriously? Do you know what you're coming up against? Like, think about it a little bit. I mean, at least he knows his flamethrower is out of juice.
I mean, he's also weighing that Beskar in his mind. He said he wasn't, right? Because I'm happy for you, Yeah. No, he was weighing it.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Speaking of Beskar, so we basically have the standoff. Mando shoots the little button. For whatever reason, fog's coming out with that button.
That's the
Pressurize it.
No, that's the carbon freezing thing.
Oh, I thought it was like the weapon thing that was hidden, but that wasn't below deck, not up.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, it was below, but it's like he had like a weapon cabinet kind of deal.
Okay, I did not catch that. Like that makes up. So much more sense now. Okay.
Yeah, that was the.
Gotcha. So he does this. Essentially, Carl can't see. So he gets shot.
Carl can't see weathers.
It's my name. Don't wear it out. Gets hit right square in the chest, right conveniently where there's 2 plates of Beskar. So
also where his heart is. So, it could have been an accident.
I always keep my Beskar over my heart.
But that's like such a cliche in like the movies too, where it's like
totally.
You have the Bible that has your coin, your lucky coin or something, right totally.
There. Anyways, Carl's not dead. We don't know if this is a choice. I'm leaning to think it's a choice. I don't think Mando is that careless. Like, he can literally shoot a button this big. I think he was doing that. He knows that. I don't think he has beef with the bounty hunters, really, right?
No, I don't think he has beef. I think it was self-defense, but I think he's mitigating the damage, to a certain extent.
Also, another loose end, though.
Warning, though, like don't come at me.
Yeah, seriously. And
even bigger warning now, like don't come at me because I got a posse that you didn't know about.
Seriously, Mando gang. We take off. We have this really cool fighting that we still see, like the battle going.
It is the way, or this is the way.
This is the way, I think. Whatever.
Yeah.
Either or. But we take off. We see the battle scene is still not concluded. Like, there's still a lot of crap going on.
I just realized it's like do for like the samurai, like Bushido.
Oh, yeah.
Or like Kendo.
I was like,
the
what
way.
are you talking?
It's the way.
Yeah. But you just said dough.
Yeah,
Looked at me like, it's
deer,
like dough.
A female.
Like, yeah, bread. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
You are hungry. So then we take off. In the end scene, basically, we have little Baby Yoda. We have our cool, it's the blue guy, right? Yeah, I can tell by his gun.
War machine flies by.
Yeah, exactly. And the salute.
Because apparently they do that in Mandalorian culture too. Salute.
Hey, why not? And this is when he lets him know, hey, like, we're going to take off to another planet, I think, right? Or is that earlier?
That was right. I think he said in passing as like
as they were like leaving.
Yeah, as they were fighting, he was like, "Oh, this means you guys gotta
peace out, man." And we have him give the little toy to Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
And then we have end credits. So
and then Baby Yoda chokes on it.
Yeah,
it's all for nothing.
And he's like, "No, come back."
Yeah.
So overall, like, great episode. We watched it again here right before doing the podcast again, just to kind of get our beaks wet again. It goes by fast. Like, even though it's a little bit longer, there was no point where I was like, this is a little slow. I need you to take it out. Like,
yeah, I mean, I was worried, and we talked about it last episode where, 32 minutes with credits and everything like that. It seemed short. But if every episode is like this, I don't care because this was jam-packed with stuff. There was not a moment in that entire episode where I was like, man, this is wasting our time. Like, let's go. Come on.
Well, it makes you recognize when things are like every shot that's like cinematic. It makes you appreciate it, right? Because you're not having these overwhelming. Like, I think that's the thing. And I'm not saying I'm an expert at all, but I watched quite a few Westerns. Like, my dad likes Westerns. My grandpa does. Like, we've watched them in our spare time, They are typically long, right? Yeah. And like, there's parts of it that's always so great. But a lot of it is just like this cinematic, like, void of nothingness, right? And but I think it could get a little overwhelming here. I
think that one of the things that they're doing really well with the show is they're not bogging it down with a bunch of dialogue. They're not bogging it down with a bunch of and I'm drawing a blank as far as what the word is, of course, because
Exposition.
yeah. Hey, that is the word I was looking for. But they're doing a ton of storytelling with the visuals. They're doing a ton of, like, if the camera's panning in and it's the slow pan, and you can't even see his face, but that scene, and I love, and I'm not sure if we mentioned it earlier, but I know we talked about it last episode. I really love how they're utilizing his helmet, how they're utilizing the reflections in his helmet for the storytelling.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're watching something, and when you're watching on a second glance, you're like looking for a little, what am I missing in his helmet? What am I missing in the corner? Is there something like, is this prop from, years past Disney, or Disney Star Wars? There's a lot of little throwbacks, and it makes it really rewatchable. And I think it makes it to where, people like us that are like, I'm going to watch it as soon as I wake up, as soon as I can, or you're going to stay up and watch it. When you have significant others or you have friends that are like, hey, I'm not super into this, but I'll watch it with you. You can be like, yeah, but look at it. It's so good.
I'm going to go home and watch it again here in
exactly
40 minutes.
I'm going to have to watch it here at 6:00 again. So,
yeah.
And I'm going to be editing this video and be watching it pretty much too at the same time. So I think it's just really great. It really lends itself to being rewatchable. I think and that's also what Star Wars movies are great for, right? They're something you can have in the background, and you can watch them 100 times and watch it again and be like,
and I know I've brought it up, but I really do like the soundtrack.
It's so good.
It's
I really don't know how anyone can hate it. It fits so perfectly. And
I really hope that there are going to be some moments later on, though, when, because he's this anti-hero.
Yeah.
And he flirted with dropping the hero portion of this episode. And, he chose to go and do the honorable thing, at least in his mind and in ours.
Yeah.
But I suspect that that's not the end. I think that there's going to be a lot of other choices that he's going to end up making because of this choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's I'm hoping that there's going to be this point in one of the later episodes where it actually plays the Star Wars theme.
Yeah, totally.
I
do have a feeling that, so we had our scientist character, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like necessarily he was working for the Empire so much. And maybe he was doing something for maybe the Resistance, and we just don't know that yet. I have a feeling maybe Baby Yoda is caught in the middle between the Resistance and what was formerly known as the Empire, maybe. And Mando's here to basically just cut through the bullshit because I don't give a shit what side it's on.
Well, and then there's that whole thing where Carl's like, just take it up with the New Republic.
Yep.
And he's like, that's a joke. And that's because the New Republic disbanded all their military and that's why the Resistance exists. But I'm not sure. I mean, maybe the scientist is some kind of agent, double agent.
That's how I feel like I predict how
or he was just a decent guy.
Yeah, but I mean, why is he involved with all of that? And what was he doing?
Scientists get involved for just the knowledge.
I mean, that could be very true as well. I just feel to drive the story further, he can't be just doing the right thing the entire time. That's not the Western way. It's not going to be really that interesting. I feel there's going to be a little bit of that anti-hero, and there has to be a little bit of question of morality. And we already know he got the feels for Baby Yoda. So it's not going to be now he's you know what? Just kidding. Let me just sell you.
No, for sure.
But yeah, that's my prediction for what's to come. As far as this next episode, though,
and he does get involved with what's her face, the ex-rebel trooper.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell. But I do think that we are definitely not done with any of this, and I would be very surprised if not this next episode, the episode after, we basically have the Empire, or the remnants of the Empire, coming after him for this.
Yeah, he's got a target on his back now.
100%. Yeah. Do you have any other questions? I don't know.
No.
I think that's
solid episode, though.
Solid episode. A lot of it at face value. I don't think there's a lot that we were look at the mystery of this. We had a lot of follow up from last episode of what we thought was going to happen. got more explanation on like why do we only see one Mandalorian? Like what happened to their culture? Okay, the purge. We already knew that, but like how are they surviving? Well, they've gone into hiding. They're all basically on this planet.
Yeah.
Luckily
I
enough.
think the story's moving along at a brisk pace. I like how they're tying everything together. You can watch the episodes back to back to back, and it's one solid cohesive story.
Totally. I feel like someone needs to take all the episodes when they're done, supercut them into a movie, and see if it's watchable like that, because I have a feeling it is.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Like up until this point, I can guarantee you, if I did that, I would sit down and watch it,
Yeah.
and it would be great. So, but that's all I have. I think that's all you have. So if you guys have any feedback or any questions or anything, make sure you go ahead and leave a comment or send us an email at our email that is linked below. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the podcast wherever you can get podcasts. That's Spotify, Apple Music, or Podcasts, and Google Play. And if you're not watching this right now, make sure you go over to our YouTube channel and check that out. Link is in the description, and it's also at our website at perfectlyhonestpodcast.com. As always, I've been Corey.
I've been Matt.
And this has been The Mandalorian, Season 1, Episode 3.